day of voting enough for all of us?
Yeah, because before, when we were on ballot, we used to have 2 days of voting.
Toch, ne?
Yeah, we did. But here's another thing also that's very disappointing. Like ECN, their website is still met all results. They didn't even update it. They made an announcement and didn't correct. ECN, ne? Ostresara. They're even in the papers today. I think one of the front page stories, one of the dailies, is that the ECN results are still the same ones that they had like early Sunday. Like without the full count.
They don't have the final results.
They don't have the final
website
results on the website.
So alle voel nee, ons is klaar, ons is julle klaar.
Ons het klaar geannounce.
It doesn't work.
You
that
don't
way.
even exactly. And what if people miss that? And what about people that are in other countries or that want to see those election results, and they're like, oh, it's been 6 days since voting
and still
it will just look like it's and still. What a joke, my darlings. Hulle moet ernstig raak.
Nee, dat is diplomatic. You call them a joke and your darlings. So you don't know whether to be offended or to be happy.
Ooh, Maria.
But they are, like, honestly, they did, I feel, botch these elections in so many ways. Yes, a lot of things went right. Like they were supposed to. You don't get a pat on your back for the job that you do right. But when you do mess up, we're going to call you out.
Yeah.
And in so many ways, they just fell short. It's almost as if we had like only 2 weeks to prepare for the elections.
Yeah.
What seemed to be it was very much of an anticlimax, I think, with the results. Because this was like the first elections for me that I didn't feel any celebratory mood after the announcement of.
After they announced the results,
there was nothing.
Even celebrations.
Even PDM, that we now know is the official opposition, that we now know has 16 seats.
Yeah.
Which, if you were looking at who's the biggest winner in all of this, you might say potentially they are.
Yeah.
But even they were like, we're not accepting the results.
Even they have 14 or 16 seats more.
Even if they had 20, they've already said from the beginning they're not accepting those results.
Ons kan sien, jy goed. Miskien
They didn't even show up to the announcement. I think only...
Who showed up?
The Christian... I think it's called a C and whatever. It's one of those... CDV or whatever.
Yeah. Or
it's a Christian party. We don't know about them because that's how they didn't even get a seat. We know the NEF, Namibia EFF.
How did they get 2 seats?
Yeah, I know. That was a big surprise. I
That
thought
was
they
really
would
a big
get
surprise.
0. But
Yeah.
anyway, they were there. We know Meme Esther of Nudo was there.
I saw.
We know Kavekotora was, I believe, there. With RDP. And as far as I'm concerned...
RDP got what? 2 seats?
2 seats as well. I think that was really it, if I'm being honest.
Maria, do you have any idea what are the perks to be in Parliament? I'm just thinking about
legislation.
Ne?
Yeah.
You're part of the conversation.
You're part of the decision making.
No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about, I'm a parliamentarian. I get a salary. What are some of these perks? You get a salary.
Yes. Okay, yeah. There's obviously like the salary, like there's obviously for sitting. There's like, I don't want to call it a sitting fee because it's a monthly thing. But so there's that. But that's not, I think, the main thing. The main thing is you're like really part of the decision making process. This is where the lobbying happens in Parliament in terms of like policy changes and introduction and whatever. Whether if you want to legalize abortion, for example, you have to. It has to go through Parliament. It has to go through Parliament.
Parliament has to pass it, and then
and then Cabinet ultimately has the final decision. But what I'm saying is, that's where you discuss it. You discuss this matters of national importance. So you want to be part of that process, and that's why it's very important. Like even with parties that only have 2 seats, to be very clear about who they are sending there, and not something that's going to embarrass you.
Now, SWAPO don't have a 2/3 majority in Parliament. The
But they're still in the decision making.
Yeah, but now we have a new saga on the horizon that I saw in one of the dailies yesterday. Is the phosphate mining license.
I see Kati is busy pushing that one now.
Yeah.
Because Omwala, Saki Kadila's company that was mentioned in that documentary was also one of this company, Omwala or something, was also one of the companies that was against phosphate mining. So Knowledge is using that information, using an old article to say, yeah, this is one of the companies. You see, their self-interest. They didn't want phosphate. They rejected phosphate, and they don't know if phosphate is a good thing. But people are just like, homeboy, chill. First of all, we need to look at, and I saw this tweet by somebody, I don't know, I can't remember what it is, but it was a very, very good tweet where the person responded to this. They said, look, in school we learn about intention and motive. Now, those people's intention was to stop the phosphate mining because we now know for their own self-interest. But the motive was because this fish the phosphate mining would have negative effect on the fish. And right now, motive is all that matters, which is very true. Yes, the intention might have not been good, but the motive is still very relevant to our country.
Yeah.
So that's what we need to look at.
Phosphate mining. Like Maria said earlier on, they will keep finding new industries to exploit in this country.
It's net soma, bro.
Yeah.
Can I ask, who was the fisheries minister before Iambo?
I can't remember. I can't remember before.
It wasn't Helmut
Iambo.
Angola, no?
Helmut was at some point also at fisheries.
I think it was Helmut.
Yes.
Ne?
Yeah, because I'm asking because I was listening.
But Maria has been paying attention to politics for a long time.
I've been all my life.
Story lorry.
I was listening to the radio this morning.
I think you're right.
And just please check. I was listening to the radio, Eagle FM to be specific, this morning. You guys know I sit in my car and listen to that before I come on. And we had Helmut Angola on. He said something that people were not happy about. He said that these guys were embarrassing, and then the other word is were careless, and something else. And people are like, "What do you mean careless? Careless means that."
Yeah, they're just doing things in the open like
that. Yes, they were not careful in their disguise. But then a caller calls and says, to the presenter, says, I wonder, why didn't you ask the elder about the rumor of a guy bringing a fake Rolex and asking for it to be replaced? I don't know if you know that story. That was actually on documentary. There was a documentary, again, on the fishing industry, and this was from years ago, and this guy in the fishing industry is clearly stated that when he said when he came to Namibia, he met a fisheries minister. He didn't say who it was, but we know it was before Iambo, who came with a Rolex on his hand, right? And then he said to him, they were trying to get quotas again, and the minister took off his. Who I'm suspecting is now Helmut, and that's why they brought it up, who then took off his Rolex and said to the guy, my watch has stopped working. This is a foreign guy. My watch has stopped working. Please get it fixed. And the guy says in the documentary, and by the way, if you Google it, you can find it on YouTube. The guy clearly states in the documentary that he says, the minute he put it in my hand, I could tell it was a fake Rolex. And I could tell that what he wants me to do is replace it with a real one.
What?
On documentary with the guy's face and everything. But he just didn't say who it was. But we know now it was before Iambo and before Esau, obviously.
Yeah.
And this guy took the Rolex and said 3 weeks later or a month later, he came back to Namibia to continue the discussions, and he gave the minister the new Rolex that he bought for, I think, 50,000 US. Not 50,000, sorry, equivalent of 50,000 Namibian dollars or 60 Namibian dollars. And he gave it to the minister. So, and we also know that the fisher Helmut Angola is also deeply involved in. He's got business in the fishing industry. So my thing is, and with this documentary talking about the Rolex, and this is the equivalent of a dual SIM card
iPhone. Yeah.
Like that is what starts negotiations.
Yes.
Like bring me this thing, or my child or my wife needs a nice Louis Vuitton scarf or whatever.
Do me a favor.
Yeah. So that's how the negotiation starts off. And this was also said, and this implicated Helmut. So for him to, when he says they've been careless, it's almost to say like, oh, well, we used to do it better. You should be more careful. Not it's wrong. You should be more careful. Yeah, but this is
Did he
interesting
announce
thing.
himself on this? Helmut Angola.
He was speaking on Eagle FM this morning. That's why I was in my car listening.
Up, man.
He was just saying that the guys were embarrassing, and when they travel, it's embarrassing for them because they don't necessarily travel as SWAPO, they travel as Namibians. We all travel as Namibians. So when you go abroad and people are asking,
must you travel as SWAPO?
No, he's trying to say that it's not really embarrassing to just SWAPO. It's embarrassing to the whole country.
Okay,
because when you travel, you don't travel as a SWAPO person. You travel as a Namibian. So when you tell people you're from Namibia or they see your passport, then the first thing they'll ask you about is the fish rot. So he was just saying what those guys did is embarrassing, and they were careless. And that careless element is what got a lot of listeners,
of course,
angry.
The ears perked.
Yeah, they're like, why didn't you ask him about the fake Rolex?
You see, that's this fishing thing, like I said, is gonna swallow up a lot of people, guys. It's gonna swallow up a lot of people because it does seem like a lot of people have been eating from the fishing industry.
Oh, for years, we now know.
One way or another. But anyway, our time for this morning is up. I would just like to let you two in on a secret.
What?
Our live stream actually ended like the time Maria came to come sit down. So we have been talking to the guys listening to us on radio around the country.
I'm so sorry, Askis, it's fine.
Nee, maar hij told... As ek gesê het, dat so die ene opgestaan het en
yeah, because he's just concerned about that.
But yeah.
So we were not live streaming.
Agreed. No, it ended a while ago. The live video has ended.
Did anybody, what is the last comment you can read there?
Mine says the live video has ended. It ended a long time ago.
I think you need to refresh.
A long time.
Somebody said no, let's carry forward, forward.
Okay, yeah, no, then it's been on.
Jay's Domji.
Myne is af. Hoe's dit dom ou?
Nee.
Kom hier so, Neville, kom lees hier.
Stel nie belang nie. I'm with Shines.
So somebody is saying phosphate forward.
That's Alfredo.
Oh, Alfredo.
That's a dear
forward.
Alfredo.
Yeah.
Okay, and then we know we can't take it seriously. Hey, Alfredo.
And somebody said, no guys, we are watching you.
Okay. Oh, no, they see us. I think you
Okay.
just press refresh on your thing.
I press refresh like
Alfredo
6 times. It's not coming.
voort. Sê ek.
No, we are watching guys. No, we are live guys.
Okay.
So
We are
what?
live.
Do you guys want us to stay or go now?
Nee, we are going.
Het gaan ons is klaar.
Yeah.
Check
See you
it.
guys tomorrow.
See you.
Not on my video.
But your video is not the ultimate. You can most send the mense seen ons.
So we had 2 live streams this morning.
No, he just continued. There was an interruption and we continued on it.
Hi, bo. All right, guys. That is it for today. We are out of here. Ons is terug môre. Selfde tyd, selfde plek. Maak seker jy is baie verantwoordelik vir die res van die dag. Ons sal probeer die visvrot vir julle volg en vir julle al die inligting bring soos dit na ons toe kom. Lekker dag vorentoe.
Watch the link. Watch the link and let us discuss tomorrow.